All right, sticking in the NBA and the a flurry of coaching hires we've had recently. The Dallas Mavericks, they're finalizing a deal with Lakers assistant Jason Kidd, so he'll come over and try to unlock some more Luka Doncic things. The Celtics have got their man in Brooklyn Nets assistant Ime Udoka. The Trailblazers, looks like last night, they're very close, and they're going to go with Chauncey Billups, the Clippers assistant, and the guy who resigned from the Dallas Mavericks job, and I said that should go to the head of the line immediately, Rick Carlisle. He's going back to the Indiana Pacers. Drink, out of these recent coaches that have been hired, these great group of four guys right here, who do you see having the most success over the next 3 seasons? And I say 3 seasons just because, like, rest in peace Lloyd Pierce. 3 seasons. Sometimes guys have to go away, and then
No,
we
no,
learn their
no.
names.
No, you're right. Listen, here's the deal for the people that don't know what's going on when we say the 3 seasons. Here's the deal. We did the research, the Drink of Wisdom research section, and they have spit the numbers back, and they have shown that the average coach only lasts 3 years in their job.
Those
The
guys are
average
great.
NBA coach.
That
All right,
research
so
department, great job, guys.
phenomenal. All right, we ain't got the TNT budget, but you know what? So
Yeah.
we keep it rolling anyway. But with that said, over the next 3 years, so I put the four jobs in order. Number one, I'm gonna go with Jason Kidd. Not to say Jason Kidd is the best coach of the four, but I think Jason Kidd is in a pretty good position to succeed for the next 3 years more than the other three coaches. Here's why. We know what Jason Kidd means to the Dallas Mavericks. We know what Luka Doncic, how he plays. You can see Jason Kidd putting some fine tuning on the way Luka Doncic plays. You can also see Jason Kidd do something that we don't even talk about with Luka that might need to be talked about, and that's learning how to adjust to his teammates a little more. Why I say that? Because we done heard the rumblings between him and Porzingis. Porzingis, like, evidently he don't look at Porzingis as a role. I mean, as a star, a co-star. He look at Porzingis as a passenger. Get on back there with the rest of them. You can't. You gotta be able to. In order to succeed in the NBA, you need to learn some flexibility as a leader, as a star. Everybody can't be Michael Jordan. You can't just come down here raining pain and hell on everybody and getting the job done. Everybody can't be Kobe Bryant. You can't just bring the issue to everybody's front door. Either you're gonna get with it or you're gonna move over. Sometimes you need that LeBron type of leadership, that passive leadership. Like, I'm not gonna call you out by name, but I will say, as a group, we ain't playing well, and all the attention might get pointed towards you, but I'm not gonna say your name. So maybe a passive way. I think Jason Kidd, being that he was a point guard that won at a high level, he was a very successful point guard, and hey, he won at a high level with the Dallas Mavericks franchise, right? So, with all that said, I think he would be a guy that Luka would. Not to say Luka didn't care to listen to Rick Carlisle, but let's just be honest with this. Rick Carlisle is a legendary, elite, top level coach. However, Rick Carlisle don't have the resume to go with the rest of it that a person like Luka might want. And what I mean by that is, a lot of these young players, right? They like to know, like, why do you feel like you're qualified to tell me ABC, right? Well, Jason Kidd got a resume where he can say, this is why I'm qualified to teach you, or to tell you A, B, and C. I can tell it to you from a coaching standpoint. I can tell it to you from a player standpoint. I can tell it to you from a Hall of Fame standpoint. And most of all, I can tell it to you from a point guard standpoint. That's what Luka need, and I think that's going to bode very well for Luka and his career. Now, we would just have to find out what the Mavericks going to do with the rest of the roster. That's not necessarily Jason Kidd's job, but I think his primary job would be taking care of Luka. So that's the number one job. Number two, for me, I think would be Portland. Why Portland? Because I think Portland, right, like, the thing with Terry Stotts was this. I don't think Terry Stotts was like a terrible coach. I just think at a certain point, when you've been with an organization as long as he had been with Portland, players kind of start tuning you out. If you're not winning or you're not giving them a reason to listen, if you're not, Popovich or one of these other coaches that you done won at such a high level that they're gonna listen to you, you kind of be in the boat like Terry Stotts was. I don't know if they was really listening to him anymore. It seems like team was like a little tone deaf, tune them out, they go out. Dame Time do what he do, CJ McCullough, rest of the team do what they do. So I think it was a time for a changing of the guard. Not necessarily that Terry Stotts can't coach anymore, just a time for a changing of the guard. Here comes Chauncey Billups. What do we know about Chauncey Billups? Chauncey Billups, NBA champion, Mr. Big Shot, then done his thing in the TV booth for ESPN, just coming off the assistant coaching job with the Clippers. Name was brought up in multiple GM jobs, been in the broadcast booth as well. So, Chauncey Billups did a little bit of everything up to this point. So he's a guy that will understand the dynamics of having a player on the level of a Damian Lillard, and then maybe he can get more out of CJ McCullough and these other guys because he understands it. He's been able to sit back and watch things. And at the end of the day, he was on the bench for the Los Angeles Clippers, which means he has seen a lot of Portland over the years to speed himself up on what he needs to do to get them to the next level. Will he get them over the next level? I don't know. But I think he's in a good position to do that, right? Number 3 would be Rick Carlisle. Here's the deal. Rick Carlisle, out of the 4 coaches, if you want to ask me who I think the best, it's Rick Carlisle. And I don't think it's particularly close. As much as I like Jason Kidd his career as far as a coach don't stand accounted to what Rick Carlisle has done. Now you got Rick Carlisle coming back to Indiana. You already know how I feel about the guy that just got relieved from the Indiana head coaching job, Badarkovich, or whatever his name is. I'm not even here to pay attention. So now they got an actual grown-up in the building, folks. And here's what I know we won't see with Rick Carlisle being the head coach. Assistant coaches fighting players during the game. And the coaches over here ordering his daily coffee menu. That's what you're not going to see with Rick Carlisle calling the plays. So we're going to bring him back in. I know you made a fantastic point about Rick Carlisle being able to get more out of these guys that he got on his team that's like French All-Stars. Matter of fact, Miles Turner never made the All-Star game. Anyway, so you got some of these guys that's like French, the Miles Turner of the world, the Karis LeVerts of the world. Got TJ McConnell, like you said, like it's guys on this team that you still see a little gas in the tank, but maybe the coach, and I know that coach last year didn't know how to pull out the best of the players because he couldn't even do that with his coaches. So with Rick Carlisle, I think that would be an upgrade for sure. And then coming in 4th on my list, and not necessarily to say he can't hack it, but listen, when it comes to these 1-year coaches now, I'm starting taking with a great, especially a 1-year coach that I haven't paid attention. Like after that cat from Indiana last year, this 1-year coach thing.
You talking about first-time head coaches?
First-time head coaches. I'm sorry, first-time head coaches. Because I know Chauncey Billups is first-time head coach.
Right.
However, he's done enough where I can trust him a little more than this guy that's coming to Boston because I haven't seen this guy under the lights as the main guy. I have seen Chauncey Billups on multiple occasions. So, let's see. Now, let me tell you something. The reason I got him coming in at 4th is not because I think he's a bad coach, but he's going to, dare I say, the jungle there in Boston, especially being, African American, everything that's been brought up recently for Boston. I think, and first and foremost, this is a first year as a head coach going into that. We seen Brad Stevens, I don't know how he got promoted up to GM. We see with Kyrie Irving, how he feels about Boston. We seen like some of the rumors and I don't know, speculation that comes out of Boston all the way back to when Bill Russell was doing his thing for the Celtics. So With that said, hey, he's coming into a pretty spicy area when we talk about Boston. Let's see how he handled it. Me personally, I want to see how much of a head coach he is. Because after that guy in Indiana, now I want to see what this guy gonna go in here doing. Now he gets a pretty good package, folks. This ain't the Orlando Magic. This ain't he got a good package going on down there with Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown. He got a good duo to start with. And then when the rest of the roster, you got you got your boy Al Horford coming back. You know what I'm saying? Losing Kemba Walker, but listen, it's some moves that need to be made. But he's not coming to a lame duck franchise. He actually coming to one of the more popular franchises in the NBA, and he got a nice little foundation with him. So let's see how he do that. But yeah, man, when it's all said and done, I think Jason Kidd, because when I think about it, Jason Kidd got the guy that we thought before Jason Kidd got there could win the MVP in the next 3 years. Mm-hmm. If you know what I'm saying. So that's why I think he'll have the most success. But that's why our opinions. We gotta see it go down. But listen, that's how I rank those 4 coaches 1 through 4.
I'm going. I think the guy who has the most success. I think Rick Carlisle's going to have the most success. I think he's got a lot to prove now. It's been a while. It's been about 10 years since he won. Him and the Dallas Mavericks won a title. They haven't made it out of a first round series in a long time. You got the rumors with him and Luka. And I would say I don't think that's necessarily something we should be surprised about, because think about Rick Carlisle. The one thing I think about when I think in terms of Rick Carlisle and players is the just infamous period where Rajon Rondo came down there, and those two they couldn't get along for anything. Like Rick Carlisle, the type of coach that wants to call sets from the sideline and be involved to that degree. Rajon Rondo just comes in, wants to do things his way, and if you remember that was a complete disaster. Now I think when Luka came in, I think Rick Carlisle did take a step back and say, oh, well, I got a next level of talent, something we've never seen, the old Euro step and one, all this stuff. So I think he took a step back, but maybe as time went along, he was trying to do a little bit more, and that resulted in some tension or whatever. But now him out of there, going back to Indiana, a place that he's coached before, still got some prior relationships with people in that front office, I suspect, and he's got a pretty talented bunch. And that's a group of guys. We know Indiana's been just rocked with injuries recently. They never healthy at the right time. And I think they're due for a good run as far as their health goes. Maybe they need to bring in the Phoenix Suns trainer. That might help too. And
everybody needs the Phoenix Suns trainer, but the Phoenix Suns again.
But when you look at their some of their guys, I'm thinking about Miles Turner, I'm thinking about Karis LeVert, I'm thinking about T.J. Warren. I feel like there's another level every one of those guys can get to. Remember Bubble T.J. Warren? He came out there and he was just dropping 30 every night on people. Karis LeVert, he had some health issues, this past season. I think get a full off season from him. He's a budding star. He's a guy I think can surprise people and make an all-star team. And then you got Miles Turner. I think he can take his game up a notch. Plus you got 2 established guys in Brogdon and Sabonis who are high-end contributors. So that's a great starting five to work with. Tinker with that bench a little bit. And I think Indiana, remember before Nate Bjorken came in there, Nate McMillan had the Pacers in the playoffs every single year, up and about probably in that 5 season.
Oh, he did? He did?
Yes.
I didn't know. He got fired. I didn't know.
I guess, I don't know. Maybe the Pacers owner didn't know that either. Maybe it was freaking Frack up there running the team. I think they had a little blip. They made a mistake in the coaching ranks. They realized, oh my Lord, we messed up. Get this clown out of here. Bringing back Rick Carlisle. He's not Nate McMillan, but Rick Carlisle do have a championship. He's a head coach with a lot of respect around the league. He can still, I believe he can still get it done. And I think he'll have the most success because I think he can get, there's a next level for a lot of those guys that he has that I think he'll be able to unlock. I think Jason Kidd is I think Jason Kidd, if I had to pick another coach here, I'll take Jason Kidd. I am a little concerned about every other coach in the sense that they all have established guys, star to superstar levels. Like Jason Kidd's got the best player out of all these four guys. He's got Luka. And to his credit, the one thing I think about Jason Kidd and his head coaching experience so far is individually he took Giannis to another level. That is one thing he did in Milwaukee. He got Giannis, on the ascension to where he is now. But I think around Giannis, I don't think the team never really got on track until Mike Budenholzer stepped in, and then they started clicking. So that's a little something I'm concerned about. But I don't think that's necessarily all on Jason Kidd. That the new GMs got to help out, and they got to figure out how they're going to build this team around him. Are you going to roll with Porzingis? Is he the legit number 2 guy? That's probably Jason Kidd's biggest challenge right now, and the thing he should be more focused on. I don't have a lot of questions about Luka. I think there is something to be said for trying to get the other his teammates involved, even though he get plenty of assists per game. But I think there's something to be said for, hey, let's see early on in the game. Let's try to get Porzingis established and into the flow of the game. You remember. One thing I remember about is the Lakers in the old Kobe and Shaq days. Phil Jackson, hey, get the big fella involved early, get him established, and then as the game goes along, we'll get Kobe going. It's a lot easier for a perimeter guy to get going and be in the flow of the game as opposed to a big man in the post. They're reliant on those other guys to get them the ball. I think maybe that's something that Jason Kidd's got to look at with Doncic and Porzingis. But then around those guys, are you going to be able to keep Tim Hardaway? What about Jalen Brunson and Finney Smith? Are you really sold on my boy 42 out here running around and drawing a couple charges a game? Is that good enough? I don't know. I think they got some work to do as far as filling out the rest of that roster. And then I look at the third job. I'm looking at Portland because I think Chauncey Billups has the second best player in this grouping of 4 teams. He got Damian Lillard. You got CJ McCollum as well. So you got that great backcourt offensively, at least. I'm not sure they bring him much defensively for you. But I think it's kind of a similar situation in terms of Dallas. What are you doing around those 2 guys? Because I really don't know how much better those 2 guys are going to get. So what do you, is it Covington? Can we get Nurkic to play a full season? How much more Melo got left in the tank? What about Norman Powell? You brought him in for the 3-guard gusto. Is that what we're doing? So I think both of those teams got some work to do to figure out how they're going to build around their superstars. I think it's smart to bring in Chauncey Billups because I think he's going to probably – I'm just a little unsure about Lillard and Portland right now. I know he said, hey, I want to be a Blazer for life and all this good stuff. But I think it gets to a point where, you get to a certain point in your career and you're looking at, you ain't ever seen an NBA Finals, and you gotta be thinking man, can it happen here? Portland ain't a hot destination for many people for a multitude of reasons, like the murder rate. I'm just gonna throw it out there. They got that, but they got that going on in the background. So you come out there and bring your private security with you, but. I just know it's not. I don't think it's an attractive destination, but I think Chauncey Billups. I think it's intriguing. I think he's going to help them. I think the new voice point is a big deal. Terry Stotts might well call him Terry Stales because it probably got a little stale out there. So I get it, and I think, and this is no knock on Ime Udoka. This is really less to do about him. I'm just a little nervous about this whole Boston thing with Brad Stevens getting promoted off of his worst job that he did as a head coach. And Boston, I'm telling you, since that trade deadline, I'm not sure about what's going on here. Are we sticking with Evan Fournier? Is that what we're doing? I'm just saying, if Kemba Walker got thrown out the door for the retro Al Horford move, I think Fournier need to get out of here too, probably. I don't think he brought a whole lot to the table. But they got Jaylen Brown. They got Jason Tatum. We know this. We know both of those guys. They individually took steps forward last year, but we saw the team take a step back. And now you got your third wheel over there with Kemba, who was supposed to be your in a big three. He was your third guy. He's not there anymore. Who's going to step in? Is it going to be? Can you get the old Boston Celtic Al Horford? Is there another level Marcus Smart can advance his game? You know, these are the questions I'm thinking about. And Brad Stevens, like, I gotta believe something tells me he's gonna be a little too involved. Like, is Udoka actually gonna be able to coach this team 100%, or is Brad Stevens, during the practice sessions, gonna be in there throwing his 2 cents in? I think that's gonna be somewhat problematic. So because of that, that's where I got him. I got Rick Carlisle, then Jason Kidd, Chauncey Billups, and then Ime Udoka.